Guys, welcome to the shop. My name's Tony, and I appreciate you joining me today. I just finished getting this round. It's a piece of black walnut, harvested about 2.5 years ago. It's nice and dry. And I was thinking, oh, I'm going to make a bowl. And I went, you know what? I'm going to try something different. I want to. Let's see if you can see that in the camera here. You can. Get you a little bit better angle here. Hold on. Boy, I think I'd have this down by now, but I do not. There we go. That's pretty good. I have done that turning with a twist, the little box thing that I know there's a lot of people who turn multi-axis stuff. I learned it personally from William Kenny, and I really think that his the way he explained it and showed it was very, very useful and very easy to follow, and I've really enjoyed doing it. It's been something I've like, wow, this is something I really like to do. But I didn't know if it would work on a round bowl if we could add some sort of interesting twist to it. So I already have my center point. So I'm going to go ahead and mark out 1, 2, just putting some little dots in here right now. It's my 4 on that side and my 3 down there. This is the tailstock side. I have a TS written on my little jig here. So we can pull it over here. This would be our number 1 up here. Make sure I can make it dark enough I can read it. So we got our number 1 center. Our number 4 center is over here. Number 3 down here, and number 2 is right here. So we have our first set of centers marked out here to do a twist on this. Now if I go from the center on, I'm going to get a kind of a non-spiraling twist. It would kind of be an asymmetric, and that might look pretty cool. And that's what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to just try to keep changing my end on this and see if we can go from having 1 center on here, 4 centers on the bottom, well, plus our center, which we'll mount back up to do this round hole, and see if we can get an interesting shape on the outside. So the way to do this is I already have my 4 prong lined up here, and I'm going to make sure that I'm on that the same way each time. And I'm going to start on number 1. So we're just going to bring that over here, get it lined up on the hole. There we go. And see if at this angle, this concept will work. Now it works great making a box, little things. This is only about 7 inches in diameter, maybe 8. And again, I harvested this from a black walnut that came down at a neighbor's yard. I still have 4 or 5 logs left that I've got all sealed up. I've turned a lot of stuff from it. But I think that if we do, just keep a nice even on it, it's going to spin funny. Right, so we have to be careful, and I've never done this. I'm recording this live, which is probably kind of stupid. I probably should learn how to do something before I record it, but I think I want you to see the process. You can see how it's wobbling around there. I'm going to just clean from this. I'm going to probably come from about here. We'll see where it's actually spinning. Yeah, and come up to the top, and then we'll change our axis and come up to the top again, and then see if that shape is coming up with something interesting. Turn my speed way down. Crank it up here, make sure I'm nice and tight, and let me stand over here and just see what kind of speed we can get. Now it wants to wiggle around on the tailstock for sure, but I think that it's just out of round enough that we'll end up with some pretty cool shape. I've got it up to 1000 RPM. So I'm going to go ahead and get a face shield on, and again, this is something I've never tried. Don't even know. I'm talking out loud to myself, to be honest. If this is even going to make it into a video. I'm going to go ahead and get some really sharp edges on my tools, and then we'll be right back. Okay, I know from that earlier picture, you couldn't see how it's wobbling. You can see how we've got it just off center. We've moved out about, ½ an inch from actual dead center, and I'm just going to hit the top edge of this to see if we end up with an interesting rim. The secret to this is to get all 4 times the same. So let's go ahead and mark a starting spot. So we're going to start at the same spot each time here. It wants to beat at you as you get up to the top. So we've got 1 swoop at it here. Now I'm going to move over to number 2. which is right here. and attempt the exact same thing and see if we get an interesting swooping shape up there. Okay, we got a little bit of a twist happening. And I'm going to move over to number 3. Do it again. Be honest, each pass has been a little bit easier to control. Not sure if I'm getting much of a swoop in it yet, but we'll see here as we do number 4. Oops, I feel like I lost my way over there. We go. It's just a slight change here, but I'm very interested to see if we're going to get any kind of interesting shape out of that. So far, I can feel that one swooping line there. Maybe this one will make a big difference here. I see most of my interest is happening around here. Got a line, peaks up, peaks down, and it's round down here. So if we put this on center again, let's see how if it makes a real impact on how it's turning in center. A little difficult to really kind of see it as it seems a little less severe than I was hoping for. I'm seeing the peak here and a peak here, but I'm not really seeing any kind of a radical change in how the unit looks. If I put my finger out here, it doesn't really feel like there's been a big change. Nothing really radical there. I wonder if I need to do both top and bottom. I hate wasting wood, but I also really want to see if we can come up with something really cool out of this. I might need to do some offsets all the way so we can get a real swoop on it. Before I do that though, I'm going to go ahead then and flatten this side out. I don't like where we're at right now, so I'm going to just flatten this side straight up, and then the only thing that we're going to work on adding a twist to is this top above the round bottom of the bowl. Those of you who've watched me for a while know walnut makes me sneeze and cough. It's also my favorite wood to turn. I'm going to flatten this rim up a little bit. Quick shear scrape just so we don't start with any tool lines. And while we have it spinning around, let's go ahead and get a little shear scrape down here too. So we have a nice hard definitive line there. Okay, so the next markup, we have to mark up the top. And this is the area here that we're going to try to add our spiral to. So to mark up the top, I'll have to readjust the camera again, so give me just a second here. And I also need to find where my lines are, because number 1's right here, so we need to go down the side with that. Get my pencil, a markup jig, and my short ruler. Short ruler's over here. Let's see what you guys are seeing. You're not seeing anything we're seeing, so let's adjust you down a little bit here. Would one of you guys remind me to flip this back up when we're done? So we have our number 1 right there. We kind of need to line these up going the other direction. So once we get here, we know that number 1 has to line up right there. Again, this isn't making a clock, but we do want to get as precise as we can. Go through the center here. Okay, so right here has got to be number 1. And since this is the headstock, we'll flip over the little jig we have here to headstock and put it down with number 1 up there. Our 0 is going to be right in the middle. from where we had it before. This is going to be number 2. Number 1. Number 4 is over here. And number 3 is down below. So with that, I'll be able to line it up with the awl and make my indentations for our headstock. We're going to be chewing this up bad with the 4-prong, as you can imagine. So headstock is up on the 0. Got our 1, our 2. Just want to make sure we're lined up on that 1 and our line that we drew coming in from the other side so that we get a good match. And that's going to be number 1 hole, number 2 hole, number 3, and number 4. So just like doing a spiral box, this should, oh, they're right on the outside tips there. So we want to do number 1 to number 2. So if I line up number 1 up here, let's get your camera readjusted. No one reminded me. What were you guys thinking? You didn't remind me. Okay, so let's get back up here so you can see what we're doing. So we have our number 1 hole. It's going to be right up in here, and then we're going to add that to number 2 back over here for our swoop. For our theoretical swoop. I'm not even going to pretend like this is going to work the first time. Look at that. I'm going to knock you all over the place. This is what I get. Okay, and here's number 2. So now, just like the wobble we do in the 4-axis box, all we need to do is take off the flats. How close can we get here without hitting? We're just going to flatten that out. And then we're going to do that 4 times. And we should, if nothing flies off the lathe, end up with a kind of a cool spiral maybe. We'll see. Boy, that feels a little more wonky. I'm going to turn the speed down a bit. Okay, we're just going to come in, start up here, nice and easy. A lot of pressure down on the tool rest. And I'll let it chew it sail up along until I get a better run here. Let's see if we're flattened out there yet. We have one big spiral up here that's ugly. But okay, I think it's going to give us the look we're looking for. We just got to be very patient pulling it in here. Okay, I feel like that's going to give us a big swoop here. Got a pretty good cut. This is terrible up here, but hopefully we can do something about that as we get closer. Why was that bouncing so bad? Okay, let's move a little closer. See if I can, because it's a straight cut we want. Okay, let's take another pass here, a light one, and see if that works. Just want to get rid of those tool lines up there. Felt better. Okay, got one big swoop down to our base and back up again. Should work the way I'm thinking it's going to work. Now we're going to go on the other end to number 2, and down here number 3. Number 2 is right here, and number 3, well, that doesn't feel good at all. Yeah, that's number 2, and number 3 is over here. Haha, see, I almost went in the wrong hole. 1 is always below 3, if that helps you guys remember anything. All right. Again, this may or may not work. I've never done this. This is just something that kind of dawned on me, like, hey, let's give this a try. Okay, let's see if we're going to hit our tool rest again. Not hitting the tool rest. So now we just got to try to have the same cut we had before and see how those swirls come out. coming in right about here. Little shear scrape on there. Okay, let's see if we're getting that swoop. We're getting a spiral here at all. They're overlapping in a couple spots. We've got an overlap here. Need to come in a little bit more there. But yeah, see how we're getting a spirally, swoopy goodness there? Okay, now we've got 2 of our swoops in there. Big, dramatic, unfortunately. A little more dramatic than I was expecting. So now I'm going to move to number 3 and number 4. And number 3 is right here. And number 4 is right there. Hope this is making some sense what I'm trying to do here. You are seeing we're getting some really interesting shapes. Probably anything off axis is going to give interesting shapes. Just a matter of can we get the shapes consistent and pretty. Okay, one of us wondering if coming the other direction would work, but let's stick with what brought us to the rodeo so far. Oops, something just went falling. Yeah, I lost a little bit of our rim up there. That's okay, we haven't gotten that far yet. Definitely some interesting swoopy shape. I don't know exactly what's happening yet. Take another little pass down here. Going back up like we were doing. Some interesting nice lines there, interesting shape. Go ahead and try again for a little bit of a shear scrape now that we have some flatness there. Alright, we only have one left, and that would be number 4 on this end and number 1 down here. And then we'll see what our shape ends up looking like. Number 1 is here. Probably messed up my order of operation. I did. Looks like maybe. Yeah, I think I might have messed up the order of operation. 1 and 2, 2 and 3, 3 and 4. So I guess we need 4. Yeah, it's just going to be a weird asymmetric thing. I did not get my lines up right. Well, darn. Definitely an interesting shape. And I'm still going to go for it, but now see I'm all oval and I don't even know where to go. We started with 1, 1 and 2, 3. Well, maybe not. Maybe it's just the way it's spun off here. 4. Looks like 3 got it, so we should be at 4 and 1 then. I think we still might be okay. We'll find out here in just a second, I guess. I don't know if I'm right or wrong or right anymore, but I'm going to try it and we'll see what happens. We're still clear. We should still be clear. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Okay. Now for the last little part here, we're going to go back to centers and we're going to round up our bottom a little bit better. It should end up with a really interesting asymmetric looking bowl here. We should have pretty unique shape now. Yep. And I think I can hand sand some of this. I'm going to have to fill that knot up. Let's see if it sands at all and if the shape is worth all that work to get something funky looking. Yep. All right. See, this knot here though needs to be filled. That's pretty bad. Get that out of the way. What do we want to fill that with? A little bit. Yep. Still gooey and hot because I had accelerator on and the accelerator's hot. Don't touch accelerator if you're smart. I'm not so smart. Okay, let that set up. We'll get back to it and figure out what we're going to do here. Okay, let's see. Done a little tweaking, little playing with it, little sanding just to see if there's something different I could do. I definitely messed up my order of operation again. I really have to come up with a better plan. I'm really good at marking them out, but boy, I seem to lose track. Might need to use like color coding or something for my weird little brain. I'm feeling all sorts of weird stuff here. So just like here, got a flat. Give me all the little check. I want to take care of this. Get up here. There we go. Here's our oval top. And that's the look I'm going for on the top there. Off center, nice sharp rim up here, and then we should just be able to follow the inside down. This will be our shortest side. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and make a little indentation here for a center drill. Should be able to mark off our drill, centering drill here, our depth drill. That black mark brings us to there, to right here. That's good. The black, I already have a mark here that's pretty good for that. Should be a good depth. Give our depth center so we can just kind of follow that down with our gouge. We'll have some interesting, I'm going to take it out and texture it late after this, I'm pretty sure. Boy, it's really catchy and weird today. Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm just having one of those days. Better when I can't look. We're as thin as we can go on that side, just about. That is the off-center nature of what we're doing. I'm going to go in reverse here real quick. turning in reverse, you got to remember to put the tool in reverse too. It's magic.
So at this point, you can tell I was getting a little frustrated. It was getting late in the day, so I put it down and went in the house and kind of thought about it for a bit. When I came back out, I said, I'm just going to put some finish on it. Didn't start the camera. Shame on me. And I went, okay, it is turning out better than I thought. It's just kind of one of those points in the day where you're just like, man, this is just not going the way I expected. And I wasn't really sure about the shape. It felt so funky. But I went in and sanded it anyway, and threw some texture around the rim. I did that another day. All I used there is a Kurzall bit and a Dremel, and just kind of put some neat lines around one of the swooping multi-axis angles. Still not super happy with the shape, but for the first time attempting this and trying to come up with a system to make it work, I thought it was worth sharing with you guys. But definitely not my best work, but a beautiful piece of wood. And I think that there's something to this style that'll work. I'll keep at it, and I'll try again, and I'll bring it to you when it's ready. Well, that's it for this week. I appreciate you joining me. If you enjoyed what you saw, I'd sure appreciate your like, subscribe, and if you shared, it sure helps me out a lot. Have a great day, and get out there and turn something.